Apparently, we're live. Welcome in, everybody. It's Punk Rock Saves Lives PMA session for 224. Is that right? 224?
That is.
I should know this. It's
Not the person to ask.
3 days past my birthday. You would think I would know the date, but 224 2021. Holy moly. With me, as usual, is Dan and Mackenzie, my co-host, and our amazing guest this week. As you can tell, his name is Chet Michelson. Or, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Legendary Punk and author and filmmaker, Jack Grisham. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm good. I like Chet Michelson. I thought that'd be a good name. I thought that's a hell of a name.
That's a great name. And people are jumping in already. So if you see
Chet sounds serious. Jack Grisham sounds like a game show. Chet Michelson sounds like he's maybe making films.
I feel like they both sound like a game show host.
Chet,
Maybe they do.
I think you just have that vibe.
Yeah, I don't think I can get away from it. That's just the way that is.
Someone's already said it's your porn name. That's
yes. Well, yes.
There you go.
Oh, that son of a bitch. I can't speak poorly about Ron because he just built a great set for me for this film I'm shooting. So I really can't be too upset about him. His porn comments. That's
really cool. I asked Jack a couple of weeks ago if he wanted to come visit us on here, and he wasn't sure because of said film. So that was and this worked out. I saw that you wrapped it, and when we had a little change in the schedule, I was just like, let me try. And you said yes. So that was great. So welcome aboard.
Well, thanks. And we didn't wrap completely, just the principal photography. We finished the 9 days of that. So that was so then we have a bunch more work ahead of us, but we got that. So at least, if something, God forbid somebody disappears or dies, I still got a movie. So it's all right.
There you go. You just have to cut and edit it and do all sorts of.
Yeah, just I actually did just think of something. I have a friend that's dead, and there's only one thing I know that has his voice in it, and it's on YouTube. So I'm going to actually lift his voice off this thing on YouTube and then use it in the film. So
that's rad.
Yeah, I'm not. He can't sue me.
No, but it'll give him one more chance to live on forever.
Definitely thinking like a filmmaker.
Well, I tell
whether or not you can get sued.
Yeah, and this guy wouldn't like it anyway because he probably wouldn't have even done it if he was still alive. I could guarantee he thought all of that stuff was just bullshit.
Well, we've got people are having fun with the porn names on here. Our buddy Richard out there in Vegas says that there's a guy out named Norman Steele. That's a porn name. That's what he says. So.
Norman Steele. I just finished a book, and the one of the porn actors in the book is called Dick Heavy. That's his name. So
yeah, that's.
You just go right to it, man.
Yeah, that's 0 to 100 right there.
Right.
I'm gonna turn it up to 11.
And then there's also our buddy Luke Schmaltz throwing in from the Belcher. So that's cool. Luke is a punk rock singer in the King Rat, awesome band, as well as solo stuff. And he wrote a book called The Belcher. So check that out if you get a chance. It's a punk rock guy that uses belches to fight crime. So
excellent.
Yep, pretty cool stuff. And if I paraphrase that wrong, Luke will tell me, and that's okay. Sorry. So
I was going to say, I recommend Topo Chico for that.
Yes.
Highly carbonated mineral water. It's excellent.
I have won a number of bourbon contests with Topo, actually. Great.
I don't know what they must go heavy on the carbonation in that thing or something, because it really burns going down too. It's good.
Honestly,
this is going to be very anti politically correct, I guess, but that's the Topo Chico in the plastic bottles is a lot less harsh than the glass bottles. I can't explain why, but I like. So
I just use the glass.
I feel like it might have something to do with the mouth size of the bottle itself. The plastic bottles have a larger one, so the smaller bottles, you're taking in more air because you're not exactly wrapping your entire mouth around it. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. But if you're taking in more air plus the extra carbonation,
That's
But when I pour it in a glass, it's still highly carbonated when I pour it in a glass. It's like swallowing a mouthful of flavorless Pop Rocks.
well. The weird part was, I don't know if you ever noticed this. The only place you used to could get it was like down in Texas. You couldn't get Topo Chico much anywhere else.
The first time I ever discovered it was actually in Chicago.
Ensenada,
you could get it.
Okay, but apparently, rumor on the street is Coca-Cola bought it, and they're still letting them. They're still produce it all in Mexico and bring it across and everything, but Coca-Cola is distributing and trying to roll it out to the whole country now. So if you haven't had a Topo Chico, you'll be able to find some soon and tell what we're talking about. And my buddy Johnny, who works for a different one, he says PET is gas permeable. So someone texted me to tell me that the plastic let the gases out. So science. I love it. Thank you for that, Johnny. I like that. So,
I had no idea I was going to learn something today. I'm so excited.
We get you over here at Punk Rock Daily Buzz.
One of my goals in life is to learn something every day. So now I know plastic bottles are gas permeable. All right. So that's pretty cool. And then, someone called it flavorless Pop Rocks.
Right.
Yeah, there we go.
That's what Jack just said.
Is that he's laughing. Okay.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Hey, I can teach you a trick. Do you want to know a bar? Well, nobody's in bars anymore, but when we go back to bars, I can teach you a good bar trick.
Yes.
Okay, my buddy taught me this. You probably heard this before, but I recently. So it's called the Wizard. It's called the Wizard, right? So you got a deck. I don't know why I'm telling you this stupid story, but so you got a deck of cards, right? And you say, hey man, I got this dude that can pick your card over the phone without even seeing your shit, and I'll bet you money he can do it. And then you have the guy pick a card out, and he flips the card up like 4 diamonds or whatever. So the guy would make a phone call, and he'd call his dad, and he'd say, I need to speak with a wizard. And his dad would go, hearts, diamonds, spades, clubs, like on the phone, so he can't hear. And my buddy would go, yeah, for whatever it was. So if it was clubs, he'd go, yeah. And then he'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He'd call, he'd go, yeah. Yeah. He'd go, here, let me give you the phone. And he'd hand the phone off, and he'd go, your card is the 4 of diamonds. And he'd want a shitload of money doing that.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. Dang. But you got to have somebody on the other phone to be the wizard. You need the wizard for it. So.
There you go.
Dan, will you be my wizard?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, if you're in a bar and you say, hey, somebody can pull your card with nothing, not even seeing it, that's worth a couple of cocktails if you drink.
Yeah.
Whatever. That was a waste of 2 minutes.
No, it wasn't.
I work in a restaurant and with a bunch of kitchen assholes. So I'm really excited to use this against them. We're always betting on something weird.
Did you say Cajun assholes?
No, kitchen assholes.
Oh, kitchen assholes. I'm thinking, fuck, where is she? Where is she working?
No. I mean, I've done the Cajun restaurant thing, worked with those assholes too, but everybody you have to be an asshole to work in a kitchen.
Yeah.
I can say that because I used to work in a kitchen. But yeah, I'm going to use that for sure. We're always looking for things to bet on, and with sports being less exciting than ever, then
that's the time.
Good. Yes, that is good.
Walter the dog wanted to make. It's funny that you told the story before we went live. You told us the story about Walter the cat. Well, here's Walter the corgi. So
excellent.
He's down at my feet.
What do you guys usually discuss on here? Are we
just kind of what's going on in the world? And
we're 4 positive friends that people have in their house. The positive people they can look, if they're feeling down, they could go over to the screen and see positive people smiling at them.
Just kind of essentially about how we're all getting through all the shit that we have to get through. And I know that you're over in California. Production's been shut down probably a couple of different times now. So what's that been like for you? Has that like thrown you for a loop in the past year?
There's problems?
No.
What do you saying? No, hey, look at man. I mean, with the love and everything to those that have suffered or had a hard time. And I have friends that have taken a serious beating and lost family members and all that. And that being said, all that to the side, this has been excellent for me. This has been, the last tour, the last year, TSWL toured 187, maybe almost 190 days out of that year. So we go constantly. Like, that's almost what every fourth day I'm on the road somewhere, every third day, it's where we are constantly gone. So I've got to be home with my kids and see my daughters all the time and hang out with them. I've got to work. I finished a book. I finished a short film. I'm jumped into a full length. So it's like this has been very positive. Very positive for me.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. It's good. We're getting that from some bands. We're just like, I've never ever been able to be home for an extended period of time and just sit down long enough to kind of try anything new or do something else that I wanted to do. And it's been cool to see what people are using to pass their time.
Yeah, birthdays, Christmas, you're home for birthdays, for Christmas, for everything else. It's not. And my daughter, my youngest daughter, lives right across the alley from me.
Oh.
So she comes over, she walks over and hangs out with me all the time, and that's great. And I gotta, yes, it's excellent. It's been
awesome.
And I've got a shitload of work done. I actually had to get an office because so many people were driving around looking for shit to do that I had to get an office so they couldn't drive under my balcony and harass me while I was writing.
But your kids aren't sick of you yet?
No, they love me. My kids, we have a blast. My kids are solid. Yeah.
Our friend,
I loved Australia.
So I've been really excited to ask this, actually. So I know, I didn't know this the first few times I'd seen T.S.O.L, but when you guys had Warped Tour a few years ago, you had your pink suit that you'd been having signed by pretty much every band on the Warped Tour. And that's something that you do when you're on tour, is you get it signed by the bands that you're on tour with, and you auction it off for different charities. How long has that been going on? How did you start? What gave you the idea for that?
Well, it's funny. So the first time we went and did TSOL did the Warped Tour, I came up with this plan. So we're on this tour and we're going to all these different towns, but a lot of people that used to like us, sadly, a lot of them aren't alive anymore. They're gone. And,
I think I saw you guys, the first time I saw you, I think it was 15. But.
Right. So exactly.
And the people who were there aren't alive anymore.
Exactly. So I'm thinking, well, shit, I don't know anybody in this town anymore. Maybe one guy, and they give us guest list passes. So I was taking the guest list names and then auctioning them off on eBay. So you'd get basically a VIP pass to go into the Warped Tour. And I was auctioning them off and giving the money to the mission. And because the mission for $10, it's like $10 can feed almost 100 people. It's crazy, like how far the money goes, because they're getting a lot of donations and the way they figure it out. I remember, at least at the time, it was like $10 was like 100 meals or something. Mm-hmm. It was crazy, like the amount, how far it stretched. So it's like, hey, let's give them thousands. Let's just feed a bunch of people. So that's what we started doing. And then we got in trouble for that. The guys at the Warped Tour didn't like us doing that. They were very upset with us. And
it's so easy to come by a guest list spot for Warped Tour anyway. They should have just let you do it.
Pretty much.
Well, they should have. Yeah, but I think they didn't like, because these guys were backstage. So it wasn't just guest lists. So they're backstage. They're on the stage. They got all access. So you got guys wandering into people's, areas fucking, hey, Bill, what's happening? And they're wondering where are these guys coming from? How'd they get out? So, and then I thought with the suits, it's nice because, it's like, I want to wear a new suit. So I just buy a new suit and then wear it and then just auction it off and give the money to the homeless, give it to the homeless. So whatever, it all works out. Everything works out.
How many of those suits have you done?
Shit, I've done a lot of suits. I don't know how. I have no idea how many, because I'll wear them and stuff. Like I'll wear them I haven't done one in a while because I like the last one. I don't want to give it away, but I'll wear them. Maybe I wear it in a photo or on something or whatever, and then I auction them off to people.
Yeah.
So
I'm just impressed that you wore one for. I mean, you were on your. I know you guys didn't do the whole leg of Warped Tour, but you were on a particularly hot.
yes,
Like
and
I saw you in Crucis.
and I was
on like
fat as shit.
yeah,
I was
and
fat as
that
shit.
day. It rained that morning. It was
Yeah.
110.
Somebody told me they said that I look like a Pepto-Bismol bottle.
That might have been me.
I'd put on some weight. Yes.
No, just the
well,
color.
Speaking of that,
I threw up Pepto-Bismol once while it was still cold, and so anytime I see that color, it just takes me back, like PTSD.
Well, supposedly it was supposed to be a bright pink. The advertisement showed it as bright pink, and it comes and it's this light, almost carnation Pepto-Bismol looking thing. But by then it was too late to get another one. So
I actually have a picture of it, I think.
Oh, please don't.
I also look terrible in the picture. So
someone just said that you look great, Jack. Do you find that staying off the road has helped you health-wise?
Yes, it's helped me health-wise. I mean, I don't sleep. So I sleep now, but I don't sleep. So when we tour, so I go to bed. This is bedtime for me, right? They call it, like a lot of my friends call it pulling a Grisham. Like it's like, I went to bed while the sun was still out. So, but I'm up at like 3 a.m, or I'm always up early. So I get up really early. I started doing that a long time ago. I had this old crazy boss who was just out of his mind. This guy was out of his mind. He used to tell me that I belonged in the jungle or in jail. And I don't blame him. I had him, I worked with him when I was in trouble. I would go there to get my head together, right? So down on the docks with a bunch of Sikhs, and everybody's got their turban on doing their shit. Anyway, so I get up so early, and so when we're on the road, it fucking kills me. It's like we're up. I'm awake until when I normally would wake up. I'm going to bed at like 2:30 or 3, and then we're driving 10 hours a day every day, and then trying to sleep. And we work every day. Like when we're not one of these, we don't make a lot of money. Like some people think we make a lot of money. We don't. Like we have to be working every day. So we'll do 27, 28 shows in, 27 days, and constantly moving. So yeah, not going on the road and actually sleeping and eating well. Yes, I look excellent.
What parts of those routines do you think you'll able to bring with you onto tour? Like if you think now about like what tour is going to be like when you can again, what parts of your sort of like health routines, or do you think you'll be able to sort of adapt to that?
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if I will go again. If I ever will go again. Yeah. I thought that this was gonna.
Not allowed.
I thought what?
That's not allowed. We need to see T.S.O.L again.
I thought that this was gonna energize me. Doing this, that I was gonna get energized. I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't. I'm gonna really, because what a lot of people don't realize, we're in a van. We're grown adults. I'm going to be 60 years old this summer. So imagine that. Imagine a van full of 60-year-old guys playing 28 shows in 28 days and driving 10 hours a day, and just trying to sleep whatever. We're not in a bus. We're not staying in nice hotels. This is punk rock. This is punk rock tour, and it kicks your ass. It kicks it kicks young guys' asses, and it kicks your ass. And somebody said to me, they go, well, the Stones are in their 70s.
They each have their own bus.
Everybody will say that.
Every Rolling Stone has their very own bus.
Yep.
Right, exactly. If they're even on a bus, they're probably on a plane. They're getting oxygen stuck in them. They're getting blood transfusion.
Yeah, actually, they're definitely each on a PJ, and then they've got some poor schmuck working for them, driving all their gear. Because I know their tours, they have like 52 semi trucks.
Multiple.
Pretty much.
They have one stage set up. Why the other one's set up? So they
have 104 semi trucks. And I looked up the specs because the Rolling Stones are actually my first ever show. Yeah, they have like 104 semi trucks, and they hop cities.
Right.
And Justin Timberlake, I think, has like 32 semi trucks or something, but you've got to do it every day.
Yeah, it's you know, it's like, yeah, like that. Come, hey, wear the same spitty ass smelling suit for 30 days in a row. You don't get the laundry people freshening that thing up. So at one time when I was playing in the Joy Killer, my skirt smelled so fucking bad that we were putting it in we put it in the trailer with the gear. Like it was, and you'd open the trailer and it was just a smell of moldy, you know, just the foulest smelling thing. And, you know, and I would try to rinse it out. It wasn't rinsing out. I would walk into a club and people would part.
I would have just like stuck it to the roof and let it like, you know, flap around.
Oh, we did that. And I was, you know, it's funny. I was thinking, so the first T.S.O.L tour we ever did was in the back of a box van. So it was a box, so not even a van, it was just a box. And we put a couch back there and we all just laid in the back on blankets on the floor, sleeping bags and stuff. We had a guy, an older guy, he was in his 20s. He drove us and we're in this van. And so my friend just happened to come by our house. He goes, "Where are you guys going?" We're like, "Hey, we're going on tour." He goes, "I'll ride to Frisco with you." So he jumped in and went to San Francisco with us. And he goes, "I'll go to Portland." And he went to Portland. So a month later, this 15-year-old boy who didn't tell his parents he was leaving, you know, had just basically jumped in with us and taken off. But he only had the clothes he had on. One pair of socks, you know, and he just kept his socks on with his boots, you know, just so foul. It was,
man.
That's
anyway.
It's the Joy Killer name was your skirt, I guess. That's so I love that. That kind of fits.
I'm still here.
Go into some light. I like it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the light on.
Jack, go to the light. No, don't.
No.
That could be a movie. Jack, go to the light. Okay.
Wait, do we have it?
There it is.
There we
Magic.
go.
Look at that.
Just magic.
This is our filmmaker and photographer. I've seen some of your photography, and it's absolutely stunning. And you did some work with our friends in the Venomous Pinks.
Yeah, I like them. Like, yeah, I'm okay. I mean, you know what? I'm getting better. I'm learning. You know, it's a lot. I shoot portrait. I'm a portrait guy. So it's really about light on faces, like how the light works on the face and, you know, and just how the littlest movement changes everything, the look or whatever. So I stay in the garage. Like, I don't want to go shoot. I shoot in my garage. I don't go to shows. There's plenty of band photographers. We don't need another one. And, you know, I stay at home and people come to my house and visit me and I shoot their portrait in my garage. So the Venomous Pinks came over to the house and I shot them out in the garage. You know. Yeah.
And I know they've used those photos for a lot of things. So that's
I'm glad. I'm glad they've used them. I mean, you know, I'm learning. I'm learning. It's a lot of learning, and now I'm learning how to do film stuff. But and speaking of positiveness, you know, the one thing I have learned in almost 60 years on this planet is I was never too, you know, of course I made some bad decisions or whatever, did that stuff, but that's not what bothers me. What regret is the worst. That's the worst. When you don't do something, it's not what you did, because you can always go back and clean things up and, you know, the heartfelt apology and to make an amends and to straighten stuff out. Yeah, we can all do that. We can go over that. But it's when you let a chance go and you don't take it. And then you look back and say, I wish I did that. Yeah. And so I refuse to do any of that. If I feel like writing a book, I write or shoot a film or learn how to do something or go somewhere, because I don't want to be at the end if I have any mental faculties to look back and say, I wish I would have. You know, it's like, I want to say, fuck, wow.
For that reason, I do hope I just go crazy so I don't have to look back and feel that way.
Yeah, sadly, I had some psychics say that I was going to be, you know, completely conscious all the way till I died.
Oh no!
I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
Despite a lifetime of punk rock, you're still gonna be.
Wow.
Yeah, our friend Luke said he opened for you at Denver at the Larimer Lounge around 2014. The promoter thought you were touring as just you, so he showed up to play solo, and you showed up with a whole band. So there.
Oh,
and he says he doesn't regret showing up solo for that one, but it was a lot. Luke has a way of spinning something funny out of everything. So as we were talking regrets, he doesn't regret. So that was great. So
I have a funny story at Denver's show. So I get to the club and I'm figuring it's the club owner there, like hanging out. Like sometimes you get there early and the people are, the worker, whoever's there, the booking agent, somebody's hanging out. There's always somebody hanging out. And there was this old guy in a walker there. Like he had a walker. He was, and anyway, so I walk by, he goes, Jack, how you doing? I go, oh, I'm doing good. I'm getting ready for him to say, who's in charge of the contracts? Who do I need to talk to or whatever, right? And he goes, got a good trip out here? I'm like, yeah. And he's just small talking me. So I'm kind of, I love small talk. I'm just small talking him. And he goes, first time I saw you guys out here was in 81. And I'm thinking, what the fuck? And it turned out he had nothing to do with the club. He was like a fan coming out to see the band. And he was, looked to be in his 80s to me. And he had seen us in 81, 40 years ago. So I thought about that. I really started tripping because if you think now like somebody in their 30s or 40s going to a show, well, that's not a big deal. You know what I mean? Like you don't really think about it, but now throw another 40 years on there and those people are 80. They're 80.
Every single time I see Cox Bar specifically, I feel like I'm surrounded by those people. And I'm just like looking around and it's hard just to be like, wow, like the life that these people have lived and just how intimidating it is to see like an original like British like fucking oi punker like walking around. Just terrifying.
Yeah, they are terrifying.
Like that guy's 80 and could kick my ass, I guarantee it.
They're like pirates. When we go over and do the festival at Rebellion, it was like, the first time we did, I think it might have been called the Wasted Festival at that time. And anyway, it was, it was like pirates, man. It's like Treasure Island.
Oh, yeah.
Just walk out. He goes Long John Silver hobbling by. It's like really nice, but they look like scary pirates. The Italians also look like pirates. If you ever notice, you go down to Italy, and I'd see a lot of these punks, and they'd remind me of pirates. It's always exciting.
Well, coming out of the LA scene that you came out of in the Orange County scene, I mean, you dealt with extreme violence and at times in that whole scene coming up, correct?
Yeah, a lot of people didn't like us. I mean, later on there was a lot of punk on punk violence, but when I was involved in it, it wasn't punk on punk. It was punk against those who would come down on the punks. That's what it was. These were just random guys that did not like punk rock. What I think is so interesting about it, it reminds me of the stories of rock and roll in the 50s, where they thought they were devil worshipers, in the Bible Belt, kind of this is the music of the devil and blah, blah, blah. That's what they thought about punks when we came out. It was, they thought it was they thought it was devil worship. They thought, we were, and rightly so on some of it, because we were, robbing graves and desecrating churches and, doing shit like that. I mean, there was a lot of shock value rolling on, but you got just Frank walking down the street, sees a punker, and he's just full of anger and hate and wants to go take it out on him. So, there was a lot of violence towards those. Very uncomfortable.
One of my favorite quotes of yours actually was, I believe from the other F word, where you were talking about if you just saw another punk back then, you had to go over and say, hey, what are you into, kind of thing, because it wasn't like you just knew a bunch of punks. So
no, you were stoked. Like if you saw somebody with like colored hair, you would, at least for me, I'd literally walk up and go, hey man, what are you doing? What's happening? I love your hair. What are you into? Like constantly, because there weren't that many. There weren't that many. There were hidden people that dug the music, but not willing to make a commitment to the whole, lifestyle, fashion style, if you will. There wasn't a lot of that. So, sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Look at the wizard. Who's on this phone?
The wizard.
You can't even
The
see.
wizard.
Jeffrey. I'm going to say Jeffrey.
Oh, nailed it.
The wizard.
Nailed it.
The wizard.
The only reason I know that is because Jeffrey calls every night at 6:00. He does a mental health check-in at 6:00.
That's rad. That's rad. That's super important.
Yeah. So I knew it was him. And half the time he doesn't like me answering the phone. He just wants to give a report. He just wants to talk to me. Sometimes I actually answer it and he gets upset. So he's always, anyway.
That's one thing we preach a lot is, especially during all of this, is reaching out to each other and just maintaining contact. Like your friends know, people are feeling very isolated. So getting the word out and just checking on some people is incredibly healthy, incredibly beautiful thing you can do.
And thank God for like Zoom and all this stuff these days. It's like, this is bitching. People would give me shit about being online all the time, because I'm online and I love talking to people. Like I like talking to people that like the band or like the music. I'm so easy to get a hold of, it's like, just call Jack. He's right there, so, and I love the connection and the networking and the connection and, you can use it for good or you can use it for bad. And I've chose to use it for good. You
can definitely curate your own experience in some ways. And so there are definitely ways that I think all of the internet ends up being unhealthy in some ways, but absolutely this year, I think a lot of us have learned how to turn it into positive interaction and everything like that, or just being there. And for me, I get social anxiety. So interacting from a screen is way more fun.
Yeah, and I go, so I'm involved in 12-step programs and I can go all over the world.
Yeah.
I go all over the world.
Dude, Zoom AA meetings saved my life last year, honestly. Yeah. And I was never a big AA person pre-pandemic. It wasn't my thing. Albuquerque's just kind of a very weird place for it where I didn't fit in. And then we started there's a group called the Clean Sober Punks that met up at Punk Rock Bowling every year. And then some of us younger ones made a post on BYO, PRB, just the group page saying, hey, does anybody do this thing sober? And then it all kind of came together. And then with that, it's been really rad to have this entire just community of these sober punks all over the world, seeing how it's all changing. And it's been life-saving.
Me too. I'm all over the place. I was in Toronto the other day. I was just in Toronto. So all over, South Africa, Ireland, everywhere. I love it. I'll tell, so some of the people around here, they get upset. I always tell them, they don't think foul language is a sign of spiritual growth. I don't know if you ever see that sign. Foul language is not a sign of spiritual growth. I tell them that don't ever go to a meeting in Ireland because those bastards, they use the word fuck like a comma. I've never heard, I thought I dropped F-bombs. It's like I was actually there. I was in Cork and gave a talk in Cork and then they talk to you afterwards. Like they say what they thought of you, and all I could hear was this, oh, and Jack, turn your fucking, when you got to your fucking, Jack, and I tell you fucking one time, and you fucking, and then you come and tell us, and I fucking know what you're saying, fucking, Jack, and if you, and it's like, oh my God, all I could understand was Jack and fuck. Yes. I had no idea what else was going on.
I'm not sure I'll ever find an in-person home group at this point. It's this past year brought me to sort of group-based sobriety and the program and all of that. And I'd been sober a couple years prior, but it's just it's perfect. It's more. Now,
are you in Albuquerque?
I am.
I can actually discuss with you. I've been to quite a few live groups there in Albuquerque.
Oh, wow. So you understand my problem.
Yeah. I go, so for me, I've been clean and sober a little over 32 years now. So
I had no idea.
I go all over I wrote a book about it. About being like an agnostic punk and how to work the steps.
Yeah. I picked up a book that you actually might be interested in, or you probably know somebody who would be. It's called It's from the Church of Rational Satanism over in the UK, but it's Uncover Satan, Recover Thyself. And it's this guy, Ben Dean, who reworked the 12 steps, but without the godliness of it. And
Yeah.
that I've gotten, a lot of my friends who were so afraid of the program because of the higher power thing, be like, hey, look at it maybe this way. It's just an interesting way to spin it.
Well, if you ever feel like it, you can go on Amazon. I wrote this thing called A Principle of Recovery. And it's about how for the last
I can see Dan's brain going. Dan takes
Dan's doing the link.
It'll show up.
Always.
Is there a way I can buy that where you would get more money for it than if I bought it from Amazon?
No.
Oh.
They're supposed to be, but
I gotta ask.
I don't business wise, I'm not very solid. Do you know what I'm saying? I just do whatever. Anyway, but I did that for my friends to show them, hey, look, it doesn't matter. All right, let's move on. We're moving on.
No, it's super important, but yeah.
No, it's incredibly important. It's been one of the things. We had David Rodriguez from the Casualties and Starving Wolves come on, and he talked about a lot of his AA and doing everything and sobriety. It's a beautiful night of talk, and a lot of our artists have come on and talked about that. So it's a wonderful way. I do want to give a shout out. My buddy from college is on, Tom Marks. He says 26 plus years sober for himself. So
congrats.
So that's all.
I don't name any program that I could be involved in because I do hold true to a lot of that because if I go out and I'm an asshole, it makes them look bad. So, but I am allowed to say I'm in recovery and I'm in a 12-step program and all that stuff. I just don't never claim anything because whatever. But anyway,
I use AA as an overarching term for all of it at this point. So otherwise, if I'm talking to people who aren't in recovery, they have no idea what I'm talking about. Otherwise,
Dan, if you find the link for the book, throw it up there because I'm sure a lot of our people would love it.
Absolutely. Trying to find a link that isn't Amazon.
No, he said it is Amazon.
You won't.
Okay.
You won't find a link that's not Amazon.
My bad.
Yeah. I'll tell you why. I know how some people feel about Amazon. I'm supposed to finish the website. I haven't. It's halfway there. Just jackgrisham.com. There's a beautiful picture of me in the pool, but that's about as far as that fucking website went.
It sounds like exactly what the world needs.
Yes. So,
a website of nothing but a picture of Jack in a pool.
I'm supposed to be getting my shit together because I'm supposed to. I just finished this other book, this thriller detective kind of book that I just finished, and that's supposed to go up there too, because that's coming out soon, and I haven't finished that either. So I don't
avoid Amazon entirely. I just always, if I have the opportunity, I like to find out how I can do it where you get more monetary gain than you would have.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise,
always go directly to your artist if you can. So that's if you can't, then get it any way you can because eventually some pennies will trickle back to you. I hope.
I deal with myself directly as much as possible, but then sometimes I just can't take it anymore.
That's fair.
It's and Adam Baum from the Faction was talking about he did that new Faction album and he did it and he himself shipped out all of them. So he was talking to us about the pains that put through. So I get pawning it off sometimes is a good thing. So
well, I do a lot of ship. It's actually the ladies at the post office. It's been a while, but I will be doing that again because one more time, I will say it. This new book I just finished, I'm going to be shipping out myself. So I'm going to ship out a lot of it myself. And the ladies at the post office are great because they let me go in there early. So before the post office is opened, they let me go in and basically I get everything ready and then I bring it in and I bring them coffees. And then we just sit in there for an hour and a half, 2 hours before the doors open, talking shit and mailing out my books.
That's
perfect. Yeah, it's pretty nice. Yeah.
I do all of the Punk Rock Saves Lives merch shipping myself, but I do it all from this computer right here because you can download a system called Shippo.
Shippo.
Yep. and it you can do it all at home, print out the labels and everything, and all you have to do is drop it off at the post office. And
Yeah, that's nice.
There's
Well,
there's some other options too. I was
Yeah,
working
there's
in a
other-
warehouse for a bit that
I use
helped pick
with
one
books.
of
I
those.
use media mail, so it's and I know you can do media mail from home too.
Mhm.
Thank you, Ben Franklin. I know you can do media mail from home, but I just take it to the post office. It's nice. It's and it gets there quick. They say, well, it could take a long time, but it normally doesn't. Media
Jack,
mail gets there pretty fast.
there's
Yeah,
a question for you here about a Bowie song. Did you?
I did. Did you didn't, Martin? You didn't hear it? Oh, so I just covered this Bowie song with some friends. If you YouTube it, it's on YouTube. Or do we do YouTube or no? We don't do
Yeah.
YouTube.
No,
No, you do.
we're on YouTube now, so
We'll do wherever it is.
Um,
It's fun to get
and-
paid, man.
Yeah, but the song's called "Can You Hear Me," and it was kind of it's a little more obscure Bowie track off the Young Americans record, and it's really not. I mean, you can call it a cover, but it's more like a tribute. It's a tribute, and so we really did it. I mean, if you hear it, I think you'd be shocked. We really stayed as close to the original as possible. My voice is the only thing that makes it non-original, but everything else sounds beautiful to the sax parts and the choir, and that was another thing we did during COVID. And T.S.O.L did a cover of "Sweet Transvestite" with Keith Morris. Keith Morris from Off and the Circle Jerks playing the part of Brad.
I did see that.
oh wow.
Yeah.
Martin says he's listening. Also, Jack, there's a question about
We just had a guy, and speaking of shipping, we had a guy and he was having some problems, like shipping stuff out, shirts and that. There got to be like a lot of problems, and I guess during COVID, shit got shut down. He lost people, so right now we have no like legitimate merchandise anywhere, basically. Yeah, and this is nice. In this cover here, my daughter and her boyfriend play the couple in these kids dancing. I don't know what version that is, but one of them, they go in a record store, which is I'm separated, but my wife's, this gets crazy. So my wife's ex-husband owns a record store, and we shot it inside his record store. And then, whatever, blah, 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 with my daughter and her boyfriend. It was cute. It's cute.
That's cute.
That's I'm gonna
That's so wholesome.
I'll watch it when we get off of here because that's
and it's not.
So
I mean,
wholesome for the guy who wrote Code Blue.
Yeah. Well, I like fucking around, so it's like we even T.S.O.L did another cover. We covered Anne-Marie's "One Thing."
Okay.
wow.
It's
Nice.
one thing that's got me tripping. That because I tell you, I'm not a huge fan of Rage Against the Machine. I like some of their stuff. I struggle sometimes knowing where they grew up and all that, that they're raging against any machine. I mean, I can see that they might be upset that the gardener fired up the mower too early in the morning. But that being said, I was listening to this Anne-Marie song, and I thought, oh my God, she's singing about a boyfriend, kind of like a bad relationship. But I thought, you took these same lyrics and applied them to the government, politically, then we got a whole nother situation. It's just one thing that's got me tripping. It's just one thing you did. And it's pretty cool when you look back at the past and operations in Latin America, wherever it doesn't matter. Let's not get into all that. But the song to me took on a real political tone. So I got my guys in T.S.O.L. I said, hey, let's cover this, man. Let's cover this. Just pretend you've never heard it. Let's cover it. And we did it. We got this Savannah Pope to sing background vocals on it, and it was really like it's a go-go beat funk tune that we played, and just played it hard.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. I'll definitely have to check that out. tape.
I mean, this was the thing about punk rock. See, I do have some issues here. So when I got into punk rock, there was no set uniform and there was no set sound. The Go-Go's and Black Flag would play on the same bill, and no one had an issue with it. Nobody had a fucking issue with it. Wall of Voodoo would be opening for the Germs or whatever the hell, it was so wide open. And it was really, it wasn't, there weren't all these classifications that came later. It's just whatever sound you wanted, go do it, man. Even if it's one guy getting up there with a toaster and a wee little thing, great. You're on the bill, whatever. It was wide open. And we never thought of trying to please somebody or writing songs or playing music to please somebody or to get a record deal or to get on a big tour. Like, it was never the goal. It was just to play and do whatever you wanted. So that's why, for me, I really enjoy exploring these covers, like Anne-Marie, like Rocky Horror, like Bowie, and just kind of fooling around and just, hey, let's just try this. Who gives a shit? Fuck those people anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
We always try to say that there's so much to punk rock, and we're trying to bring a smattering of everything, and some of the people we'll bring on here won't fit your definition of punk, but I believe doing it your way and doing it DIY and how you want to do it, it's just the definition of what punk is. And that doesn't mean it can't be rap. It can't be playing a toaster, like you said. If you're doing it your way, that to me is the definition of punk. So,
well, really, it's in that attitude, and I'll tell you, do you remember that band Sponge?
Uh-huh.
Sponge, 16 Candles or whatever. I'm not really familiar with them, but I know that song. It was like 16 Sponge. They were popular. Anyway.
I saw them, believe it or not, open for Live.
Okay.
So there you go.
So Sponge. Now, I went on tour with them. When I was in the Joy Killer, we went and played shows with Sponge. Okay. Now, I've been on tour in that band, the Joy Killer. We opened for a lot of big punk bands, big punk bands. And they didn't always treat us very well. So now we get on the gig with this radio band who I think is going to be dicks. I went in with contempt, thinking they're going to be dicks. And those guys, they would not open the doors to the club until we had a sound check. And they made sure every night they'd say, Jack, we want to make sure you're taken care of. I go, look, we're good. And he goes, no, take your time. Let's get this. And every night they made sure we had a sound check. They knew we didn't have a lot of money. They took all their dressing room food and packed it up for us. They would put it in packs and they'd pack their food for us and give it to us to take. We had never been treated as well by bands that were supposedly punk rock, unity, Kids Are United bullshit.
Yeah.
We were treated better by these supposed radio sellout guys than we had been treated by anyone else. So it's really in the attitude,
Absolutely.
I think they're from Detroit. That could be part of it too.
Well,
something about, there's some good folk in Detroit.
There are. I love Detroit, and I like it because every once in a while I get these old hippies come out of the woodwork, and when I go to Detroit, they'll go, Brother Jack, because it's that MC5 brother.
Yep.
Yeah. Brother Jack, have you seen Brother so and so lately?
Very MC5, and
yeah,
when people try to talk to me about the origins of punk and all of that, I'm like, hell, MC5 was probably punk before there was even the term punk, so it's that's incredible. And it does have a Detroit perfection. It's cool.
Yeah.
And
I'll give you my favorite Wayne Kramer quote. So Wayne said one day, because we were both on Epitaph together and I got to hang out. I really like Wayne. He never remembers it's me. I have to constantly remind him it's me, and then he's very friendly. But he said, he goes, I've been selling out for years and nobody's buying.
Oh, wow.
I like that.
Incredible performer. I love that Epitaph gave him free reign in the 90s and 2000s and everything. He's just incredible. It was really
and a nice guy. like a totally, like a really nice guy, man.
And
Just
he got out there and hammered it. It seemed like he was in. I in that time period I was living in Nashville, and it seemed like he would be playing in Nashville once a month. It probably wasn't that often, but it did seem like it. He was always coming through.
he worked a lot. He was in great shape. Swimmer. I don't know if he's still swimming, but he used to like do like competitive swimming. At that age, he's out swimming and stuff, and and not that he was at a high age, but I'm saying he was into it. It was
Yep. That's
as far as my memory allows.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's well, we really almost hit an hour already. It's hard to believe. It's crazy. Jack, what's around you in LA there or in Huntington Beach? What's been going on COVID wise? Are they staying to it? Or are you staying away from them? What's going on in your
Have you read about where I live?
a little bit.
Our town is famous. We have famous for there is no virus because they don't see it. So this area has always been notoriously right wing. This whole area. My great uncle was one of the founding fathers. Yorba Linda. Him and Nixon were best buddies since they were little kids. Since they were kids. Heavy right wing. This pocket right here, this pocket in California, gnarly. So anyway, that being said, we were warlord parades, around my blocks over and over again. Yeah. Guys getting in football like scrums, coughing in each other's face. Just to show that there is nothing there. They were letting, not even protests, demonstrations. These guys just going around, nobody wearing a mask, nobody doing anything, nobody believing it. This is all a hoax. This is bullshit. And it was really, it was, 500,000 dead, Those numbers are exaggerated. They're counting everything because the hospitals get money for that. That's the kind of shit you were hearing constantly. It's not. They were taking pictures and showing they were taking pictures of the beach because there were just thousands of people on the beach, just not even care, like nothing.
Yeah, my brother lives out in LA, and I used to go visit him, and I always liked swinging by Huntington Beach. Birthplace of you guys and Black Flag and all that, and I was just like, I was like, have you been in the area at all? And he's like, no. He's like, that's all the anti-COVID rallies are happening on Huntington Beach right now. It's like, that's insane.
Right across the street from my house. Right across the street from my house. It's pretty gnarly. So a lot of I mind my own business. I take care of myself. My kid actually had it. She still has trouble tasting or smelling or whatever still. Anyway, but basically I do what I'm supposed to do. And what just drives me fucking, well, whatever. We don't need to get into all this again. It just don't call yourself a patriot if you will not protect somebody that could possibly get ill from being by you. It's like whatever. We don't need to get into all that. But yes, that's where I live. It's very interesting. It's and here's the other thing. Somebody asked me one time, they said, what's the big difference you see now, punk rock now versus punk rock? And there's a lot of big differences, but one of the major differences I saw is back when we started out, I never got letters from kids calling me a commie bastard for telling the president to fuck off. Never. And I was flooded with hate mail. For doing anti-Trump rallies or whatever we were doing, and they were calling me a leftist and a fucking all sorts of shit, which is so crazy. It's like what I am. I've been like for some time, and then on the other hand, I was getting it from the other side also, because I was saying that there were certain people that I believed had a right to speak, even though I don't believe in what they're talking about. And it's like, hey, you can, the First Amendment's got to work both ways, man. And then I was being called a fascist for that. So it's like I fucking hated all this shit.
It's a mess sometimes. Yeah.
I'm a right-wing fascist liberal snowflake. Fucking whatever. Just crazy.
Get all of that just tattooed on your forehead.
Yeah, just
And maybe people will leave you alone.
craziness. But
Yeah.
anyway, well, this has been a good visit, you guys. Thank you for
It's
having
been
me on
great.
with me.
It's
Thank you
great.
so much for joining us this week.
There's a couple of things we do every week to close out, kind of, and I'll throw it at Dan. Oh, I do want to say to Zach and the EJ, I believe I'm saying that right. Is that he's been kicking in the whole time, and he says he's met his best friend through social media, and they watch wrestling together across the interwebs. Next week we have Ruby Riott from WWE as our main guest. It's going to be a incredible badass women of punk rock episode roundtable, and Mackenzie will be leading it. I'll be in right at the beginning to say hello and get out of the way and let the women lead the way. But Ruby Riott will be here from the WWE, and she's the punk rock wrestler, and she believes it, loves the music, and came to us, found Punk Rock Saves Lives on her own, and said, I want to use my big platform to help you guys. And we think it's so cool. So she'll be on here. I'm a little biased. She's a Corgi lover and owner as well. So Corgi mom. So if
anyone is wondering, ever since I got a partial Corgi, Rob definitely likes me more than he did.
That's it. No.
Yeah, I've known him for what, probably almost a decade.
Yep. But
nailed in our friendship by getting a part Corgi.
Well,
I was on a plane one time with I was in Albuquerque, and Albuquerque was a hub, and this was probably shit. It was a long time ago, but Superfly Snuka was on the plane, and the Bushwhackers and the Undertaker, like all these guys, because they're not making a lot of money at the time. It was starting to blow up, but not yet. So they were all on the plane. Andre the Giant was not, but a lot of all the other guys were all on the plane. It was a plane full of wrestlers going to the next town, and we just happened to be on the plane with them, and it was fucking so great. It was
that's wild.
But I bet Chris Daly's ears just stuck up somewhere.
I know.
I have to say that's our real wrestling drummer buddy. Dan, this is what I do every week. If there is something you've been listening to, reading, rocking out to, something that's helped you for the last couple of weeks, what is blowing up your mind to help other people for the next coming weeks? I'll start with Dan. Dan, what's been going on this week for you?
So surprisingly, again, nothing. But right before we went live, Kevin Lyman, founder, creator of Warped Tour, posted about a new podcast he is releasing called My Warped Life, and it's about stories in his 40 years within the music industry. And there's actually, you might be interested, but there's actually a number up on his Instagram account to text your stories to be featured on the show.
Now, we have a few of those.
So I think that's just an awesome thing that he's got, just like both of you just have like the years of experience of, everything within the music industry. For him to tell the stories and have some guests on within it is just absolutely amazing.
One of the things I didn't get to say earlier is I can imagine when you were giving away the backstage passes, Jack, for donations, I could hear Kevin having to come to you and go, Jack, we can't be doing that. That's my best Kevin. It's not good. But
yeah, actually, he didn't speak to me. He walked in the room. I was sitting there, and he looked at the other band members, and he said, please tell me he was the only one that knew about this. That's what he
that sounds like Kevin.
Yep.
That's perfect. Yeah. Kevin Lyman he really did change a lot of our worlds, and in a positive way, and some negative ways, and some great ways, and awesome human too. So I think the world. All right, Mackenzie, what's been blowing your mind up this week?
Oh man, well I haven't, except for these, I still haven't had a day off from work since before Valentine's Day. So I've been really depleted. So just not very low energy stuff, but I've been jumping really into old jazz and R&B, listening to a lot of Louis Armstrong, Irma Thomas, Booker T. It's kind of what's been keeping my gears going as they need to be going. So that's where I'm at this week.
In all of my music stuff, one of the coolest things I ever got to do when I lived in Nashville, I worked at a record store, and Booker T and the MGs put out a new album, which was, this was in the 90s. So and that was huge. And they brought, I don't remember what record label they were on at the time or whatever, but they did a meet and greet, and they brought in Booker T and Steve Cropper. And I got somehow invited to this thing and got to meet and hang out with Booker T and Steve Cropper. And that was, talk about legendary. I mean,
I'm lucky. I got to see 2 years ago. I got to see Irma Thomas live. Did we lose him?
We lost Jack. Jack,
come back.
You can click back in. So,
but I do want to mention that I realized yesterday that I'm pretty sure February 27th marks exactly a year since I last saw a live show. Here's Jack.
Jack's back.
I don't know. I saw the red button. I clicked on it.
Right. It just
and I disappeared. Sorry.
But I was just telling a story. I realized yesterday that the last live show I was at will be exactly a year on February 27th. And it happened to be Authority Zero, good friends of ours at Punk Rock Saves Lives, advisory board members, all the works. And they're also the last band I saw live, I think, before I spent a month in jail. So I'm probably never going to see Authority Zero again because terrible things always happen after I see them.
I'm going to sneak this in.
Yes.
There's a little sneak peek of
that story would be a good segue. So drop in the comments who the last band you saw live was and what date that was, because I'm coming up on exactly a year, which is the longest I've gone in probably 15 years. So significantly.
Easily.
Yeah.
All right, Jack, have you been listening to or reading or anything?
Not a damn thing. But I was going to say T.S.O.L did a Louis Armstrong. We did What a Wonderful World. Mm-hmm. And I rewrote the lyrics. But so you won't know the lyrics are rewritten unless you really listen to them. And I had a blast. I got a chance to the section quartet. I played it live with a quartet, and it was a string quartet, and it was quite an experience. It was.
So
figured, what the fuck? I'm going. I'm gonna just do it. Let's go. Anyway, but if you get, that's also on YouTube. What a Wonderful World, the T.S.O.L cover. It's pretty fun. But
I love when you guys do those fun covers. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's always fun. So other than that, I work. That's how I stay positive. I work. I walk every day. I walk 4 miles every morning, and I visit with people I see on the street, wander around talking to people, and that's how I stay positive and keep moving.
Love that.
That's it.
These are all coming together. People are putting in. There's a bad cop they saw. Let's see. A bunch of, they're just flowing in slowly. And Joshua Kramer is mad at me for showing that sticker. Josh, you designed it, so I think we have to get you one out there. But Kramer does a lot of our artwork. Hey, Agnostic Front. We're getting all sorts of cool ones up there. Things I want you to check out this week. A bunch of our friends, bands, and everything have announced. Our Irish friends, obviously, are announcing their St. Patrick's Day shows. Flag and Molly's going to have one that goes pretty early in the day, and I know it's a Wednesday this year on St. Patrick's Day. Dropkick Murphys sometime in the middle there. 1916 are having one, so please check all those out. Dylan Walsh, our dear friend, an amazing gentleman from Ireland that moved to Nashville. And then this Sunday, 2/28, the Carter Drive sessions that I've actually done some guest appearances on, a little live stream situation out of they saw Phoenix. Let's see. So they're just flowing in slowly. And Joshua Kramer is mad at me for showing that sticker. I play it back for you guys. A little live stream situation out of they saw Phoenix. Let's see. So they're just flowing in slowly. And Joshua Kramer is mad at me for showing that sticker. I'm going to stop playing it back for you guys. A little live stream situation out of we'll just leave it. Phoenix.
I think it's still happening.
What's that? Was that me? Was I creating that?
No. I don't know what that was actually.
I think
looping.
I think it was me. I was creating it because I just clicked to look at the comments and it was playing you talking. So it was picking up on my mic. So I think I did that.
Oh, that's okay. It's not a PMA session with Punk Rock Saves Lives without some kind of technical weirdo. But I was saying that Carter Drive sessions this Sunday. It's their 50th session, I think. And it's really rad. And the special guest is our buddy from Authority Zero, Jason DeVore. So check that out. So those are some cool things. All right, Jack, the last thing we're going to do, and I love this. I ask our artist or our guest every week, where do you think your life would be today had you not found punk rock back in the late 70s? What would have been different, do you think? What path do you think you would have taken? I love that. That's the reaction every week.
Well, I'm just saying, the trouble was I was punk rock way earlier than I found it, if you know what I'm saying. So I was not destined. Who fucking knows? Not anything good. The thing that saved my life is getting clean. That's what saved my life, because I was, whether punk rock or not, I was done. So that's why I'm still sitting here at 59 years old, because the last 32 of them I've been clean. So yeah, God knows where I would be. You might have been voting for me in the recent election.
I think I would still vote for you.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd vote for you.
Yeah.
Somebody that would tell you the straight path. No,
right. Anyway.
But it's been an incredible honor, Jack. I'm lucky enough that we've hung out together quite a few times. But it's really cool to have you out here talking to us and talking to the world. Thank you for an inspiring. And if you're dealing with wanting to become sober or anything like that, we have people you can talk to, and we could probably even get Jack to give you some tips. So please don't be afraid. Every week I tell you, if you have any doubts, if you're struggling through this, if there's anything we can do to help, my phone number is readily available on the website, and you can call to us first. We might not know the answer, but we can try to get you to someone that can help you and get the help that you want and or need. We're here for you. We love you. And I close it every week with one love, up the punks, everybody. Have a great night. Thank you, Jack. We love you,
guys. Bye-bye, everybody.
Pleasure.